Did you know that when I said the Bible is historically worthless, it's a few key things I'm basing that on. I'm not just pulling straws and pulling things out of my butt. Number one, no human being has ever been found in the Bible, not one name. Number two, the Bible doesn't have any chronology, no dates. When you're telling a story with created characters, you don't need a date. They don't have any birthdays. They don't have any death days. And to prove another underlining fact, if you don't know who James Ussher is, he's the man that said that the world was created around 6 p.m. October 23rd in 4004 BC. So if you never knew who James Ussher was, that's who gave you the time and the chronology of the creation of the world, not God. Did you know that when I said the Bible is historically worthless, it's a few key things I'm basing that on. I'm not just pulling straws and pulling things out of my butt. Number one, no human being has ever been found in the Bible, not one name. Number two, the Bible doesn't have any chronology, no dates. When you're telling a story with created characters, you don't need a date. They don't have any birthdays. They don't have any death days. And to prove another underlining fact, if you don't know who James Ussher is, he's the man that said that the world was created around 6 p.m. October 23rd in 4004 BC. So if you never knew who James Ussher was, that's who gave you the time and the chronology of the creation of the world, not God.
Around the year 500 BC, the Greek city-states began to culturally and economically flourish. Having several colonies scattered throughout the Mediterranean, the cities enhanced their wealth due to the trading networks controlled by the Greeks. However, this age of Greek prosperity was threatened by the Persian Empire, a military superpower which ruled the Middle East and part of Africa with hegemony. Without being able to pose resistance, the Greek colonies located in Asia Minor, currently Turkey, surrendered to the Persians and started to pay tribute to Emperor Darius. Weakening the Greek cities in Asia was part of the Persian strategy of domination in order to achieve total subjugation. After the conquest of the city of Byzantium, which opened the doors of the entire region of the Black Sea, the Phoenician traders were offered trading privileges, and these were the rivals of the Greeks in trading disputes. Such action prompted an extreme discontent among the Greeks. The wealthy Greek city of Miletus was deeply affected, since most of its wealth came from sea trade. Aware of the impending retaliation conducted by the Persian army, Miletus and its allies requested the help of several Hellenic polis in Greece. Nonetheless, few responded positively to the distress call. But the major city of Athens was among those who did, sending half of its naval fleet to help in the conflict. After
In 334 BC, Alexander, king of Macedonia, began one of the greatest military campaigns in history against the superpower of the age, the Persian Empire. Just 20 years old, his brilliant and fearless leadership won him battle after battle. And in an astonishing 10-year campaign that took him to the edge of the known world, he carved out one of the largest empires ever known. Few men have had such a massive impact on the course of history. To the Persians, he was Alexander the Accursed, but to the West, he was immortalized as Alexander the Great. Ancient Greece. From around 500 BC, this rugged land was the scene of remarkable developments in art, philosophy, and warfare. Its two greatest city-states were Athens, a naval power where democracy, art, drama, and philosophy flourished, and Sparta, an austere, militaristic society famed for its formidable army. In 480 BC, these two city-states had joined forces to fight an invasion by the mighty Persian Empire. At the narrow pass of Thermopylae, a small Greek force led by 300 Spartans held up the enormous Persian army for 3 days, before they were finally encircled and killed. Then, in the Straits of Salamis, the Greek fleet defeated the Persian navy. But they couldn't prevent the Persians burning the sacred temples of the Athenian Acropolis. The next year at Plataea, the Greeks won a decisive land battle against the Persians and forced them to abandon their invasion. The next 50 years were the golden age of classical Greece. But rising tension between Athens and Sparta and their allies eventually led to war, dragging the Greek world into decades of destructive fighting. Wars between the Greek city-states continued for almost a century, leaving them exhausted and vulnerable to a new rising power to the north. For centuries, sophisticated Greeks had viewed the mountainous kingdom of Macedonia as a backwater, Hicksville, barely Greek at all. But under King Philip II, Macedonia emerged as a formidable military force. His most famous reform? The introduction of the sarissa, an 18-foot pike, twice the length of a normal Greek spear, and wielded by trained infantry, fighting in close formation, known as a phalanx. In 338 BC, at the Battle of Chaeronea, Philip's army crushed the joint forces of Thebes and Athens. Through alliance and conquest, Philip had already gained control over most of his neighbours. Now, following this victory, he united all Greece in an alliance known as the Hellenic League, or League of Corinth, with Philip as hegemon, or supreme commander. Only Sparta stood aside. Philip began to plan a great campaign, a pan-Hellenic or all-Greek war against the Persian Empire. Their old foe was now an ailing superpower, its great riches ripe for the taking. But on the eve of launching his war, Philip was assassinated by his own bodyguard, victim of Macedonia's brutal court rivalries. He was succeeded by his 20-year-old son, Alexander, brilliant, restless, tutored by the great philosopher Aristotle, and already an experienced military commander.